Suddenly, everything came to a halt. The screen froze. The sound went out. The broadcast became quiet since the truth had been disclosed. You were the one. The system lurked in the darkness. The one it believed was forgotten, but could never control. The selected one. It was not a coincidence. This was the failure of a scheme. For years, they've observed and followed you. You attempted to silence you. But now, in front of the whole world, they revealed you. Then they stopped the transmission. Because your presence alters the frequency, dispels the deception, and shreds the curtains. No matter how much they attempt to disguise it, you are now obvious. The light is spreading. The awakening has started. And the moment has arrived. Everyone will know the truth. Because the deeper the darkness in the earth, the brighter the light. You are not a normal person. You are a symbol, a message, a revolution. And now the whole world will know who you are. Are you ready? Right. 7, 7, 7. Because this is just the beginning, leave a comment now. A tree planted on rocky ground may seem weak at first, but its roots grow deeper with each storm. This is the essence of your adventure. Regardless of how many stones were hurled or how dry the season grew, you kept pushing through the difficult times, growing higher while others hoped for your demise. They gathered their full crop of bitterness to see you wither, pouring every ounce of envy and resource into a strategy to remove your name from the landscape. However, the rains they waited for never arrived, and instead you thrived right in the middle of the earth. They attempted to cuss as their plans shattered. You were living evidence that what is planted with intention cannot be swept away by a storm, and what is selected by something higher than human hands will always find a way to grow behind closed doors and in the shadows of their hearts. Frustration rose like weeds, choking away any hope for serenity. Their planning for your departure became an obsession, festering year after year, fueled by the old anxiety that whatever light was born in you would not be extinguished by their darkness. The tale didn't start with your accomplishments or wins. It was written much earlier in your youth, when you exuded a type of power that made others nervous before you even revealed your goal. If you are experiencing an excess of divine love in your heart, now is the moment to share it. You may help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and donating $1 or more. This wonderful gift will affect not just your life, but also the souls of countless others. Each of you has a holy position in God's great purpose via this platform, and your giving will provide fruit for our prayers. Act now. Share your benefits to honor His kingdom. You were meant to do much bigger things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. You were born like a candle in a cave, intended to provide light where there was only darkness. God created a fire inside you that no man or Satan can extinguish. You did not choose to cave. You did not beg to be placed in the shadows. However, heaven saw fit to shine a light in a location where others were afraid to go. Now listen to me. God does not light a candle for decorative purposes. He does this on purpose. He does it to shine. And your brilliance, child of God, was never intended to be concealed by anyone's fear, envy, or misunderstanding. But other people, even those closest to you, couldn't tolerate the light you carried. It wasn't like you were doing anything wrong. It's only that your light revealed what they had refused to recognize in themselves. In some households, the warmth that should have protected you from the harsh realities of life was replaced with cold calculation. The people in charge of protecting you, your caretakers, siblings, and relatives, regarded your radiance as a danger rather than a gift. They mistaken your innocence with arrogance. They misunderstood your delight for competitiveness. They observed you. Oh yeah, they memorized the patterns of your laughing, the language of your hopes. They memorized your dreams, not to safeguard them, but to pervert them while you were outside playing in the sun. Imagine a world full with possibilities. They were inside, covertly scheming how to hide your light. Their ideas were like clouds accumulating to blanket the sky. Your sky. If you experience God's presence, touch the join button below to be among the first to receive the most crucial insights. And maybe you felt it before you could express it. Perhaps you observed that their praises had harsh edges. Perhaps you noticed that their grins didn't reach their eyes. You were still youthful in spirit. Your spirit was intelligent since it did not originate from them. Your spirit comes from the Most High. Some of you were made to feel too sensitive, creative, boned, and emotional. But the fact is that you weren't too much. You just exceeded their expectations. When someone has never experienced light, it might be dazzling when they have built their whole lives on darkness. Your brilliance becomes unpleasant. But allow me to tell you something profound now. They may have misjudged you, but God never has. Heaven always knew what it had put inside of you. You're not a mistake. You're not broken. You're not too much. You were picked. You are divinely designed. You are heaven's response. Wrapped with flesh, they saw your light and attempted to dampen it, but they were unaware it was heavenly fire. They attempted to box you in, but failed to see that you were never meant to fit in their confines. You were born for the great open spaces. You were created to walk in favor, provide revelation, and speak truth when others utter fear. And yet it hurt. It was painful to grow up in an environment that did not nourish your roots. It stung to be trimmed by hands that should have been soft. It stung to be unwanted in an environment where love should have flowed freely. But allow me to tell you what I know. Pain does not negate purpose. Broken beginnings do not derail good destiny. You may have been born in a home, but you were meant for a kingdom. You may have been raised by others, but God selected you. No amount of treachery, jealousy, or rejection can change what God has already written in your soul. For others, childhood was less like a safe garden and more like a battleground where innocence had to don armor merely to live as they unleashed every means available to them. Emotional landmines, clandestine sabotage, obscenities said under the breath. They expected you to fall, but you continued rising, challenging the notion that someone so young could be crushed by the weight of envy. That's when they understood the game had altered forever. You were not designed to break along the fault lines that they attempted to build. No matter how brilliant or synchronized their actions were, they eventually ran into a wall. They couldn't build or pull down. They'd put all of their intelligence into designing a cage. However, the lock was an illusion. You slipped beyond the bars because the keys to your fate were never theirs to keep. Their rage did not subside in the calm hours that followed. It curdled into desperation, tearing at their tranquility. Because their worst fears have come true. You were not only alive, you were flourishing. The mere effort to put out your fire made you blaze brighter. A light. The strategies couldn't dull or conceal the reality, which broke the illusion. You were never supposed to succumb to their pressure, and their assaults exposed a force inside you that beyond understanding. They threw everything they had, including poisons, contracts, and rituals. Imagine a well on your journey. They uncovered something considerably more distressing than your failure. You couldn't be moved by the gloom they created. Instead, it looped back, eating the architects who designed it. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace come upon you today. I'm here to remind you of a fundamental fact. Our existence is based on God's divine purpose and is unaffected by worldly worries. According to the Bible, everything is done with faith will be returned to God with great blessing. Luke, like the enormous oak tree, our roots are profoundly embedded in God's global truth. His power secures every stride and every stance we take. And now you have the chance to be a part of that gift. When you utilize the super thank you button and give money, this movement will return to you many times over. Desperation pushed them to new lows, breaching limits that most people would never consider. They violated the unwritten laws of decency and conscience, believing that their combined efforts will eventually tilt the scales. However, every secret partnership they formed merely sealed their own demise, as the cosmos itself spun a web of return in which every shadow they cast was weighed, numbered, and multiplied. Their campaign was never a solo effort. It was a network of complicit hands, relatives who should have guarded you, friends who sat at your table, and lovers who once murmured their love. They banded together, swapped secrets, and had nocturnal meetings where your name became the focus of their hatred. The planned actions, subtle nods, and phony grins at holidays all indicated a coalition set on your destruction rather than your healing as you pushed on. Unaware of the labyrinth being formed under your feet, the same builders of calamity donned camaraderie masks. Their apparent friendliness was nothing more than a thin veneer covering terrible treachery. And while you were dreaming in the open, they were sketching plans for your demise behind closed doors. The energy and resources they put into this campaign might have been used to better their own lives, spread goodwill, or heal their own traumas. Instead, they bet all they had against the authority that protected you. They only lost money on the wager. They hired spiritual mercenaries, depleted bank accounts, and tracked your every step, thinking that your demise would buy them peace. But they did not anticipate this fact. When you make war on the privileged, you simply ruin yourself financially, emotionally, and spiritually. If you experience God's presence, touch the join button below to be among the first to receive the most crucial insights. Your survival tale is much more than simply getting through a difficult time. It demonstrates that what is entrenched in destiny cannot be dislodged by human endeavor, no matter how organized or rigorous. Their investment in your downfall has become a testament to your fortitude, a permanent reminder that whatever blooms under the hand of providence will always thrive, no matter how strong the resistance or how desperate the storm. There is a peculiar rule in the world. What you put out will always come back to you, no matter how far it goes or how hard you try to avoid it. It's like launching a boomerang into the black sky. It eventually returns to the hand from whence it was thrown. That is what is happening to those who planted the seeds of your downfall. They constructed their dwellings on the beach, believing that the waves of destiny would never reach them. But now they're seeing the fundamental basis of their existence crumble under them. What they formerly relied on to ensure their future has gone through their fingers. Drought has replaced the harvest that should have occurred. Their resentment is becoming more expensive. Every night, they understand that all the riches they gave up to ruin your name was just for them. An unending winter of loss. Your mending is like a thunderclap in their peaceful evenings. Each step you take toward freedom is like a bell tolling over the wreckage of their dreams. The wounds they intended to leave as lasting marks of your failure have now become reminders of your invincibility. Every dawn you see in completeness, every time you choose peace, serves as clear proof that their protracted effort did not shatter you. It shattered their grasp on you. Your regeneration is like the sunlight after a lengthy storm, a demonstration that no amount of midnight strategizing can stop the sunrise. Your laughter, lightness, and even your calm happiness. They hurt more than any blade because they demonstrate that their whole sense of identity is based on the expectation that you would collapse as your power increases. The shadows they hid and shrank. Anxiety stretched thin across a gulf of consequences. The terror they attempted to bound you with now wraps around their own hearts. Their restless evenings are disturbed by the sound of coming justice. And the peace they denied you is now a memory they cannot retrieve. The terror storms that formerly raged in your head have taken up new territory in theirs. Each pulse is tinged with fear that the secrets they buried are resurfacing for air walls they once erected to separate you. Now, keep them locked inside. The lies they made to ruin your reputation now strangle their own. No amount of begging or lying can keep the truth from seeping into every corner of their carefully manufactured lives. They go through throngs of people, every conversation, a potential allegation, every connection, a recollection of trust violated by the community that once supported them, now turns away, unable to partake in the plain and undeniable demise. What previously seemed to be an impenetrable fortress has been exposed as a house of cards, with each gust of truth sending another piece toppling. The courts of public opinion, the halls of justice, and even the hallways of their own thoughts. They're all reflecting the truth that what happened in the dark can't be buried forever. Retribution isn't on the horizon. It has come. Silent but thorough, they swept away whatever appearance of untouchability they had worn as armor. This isn't retribution. This is the universe's inherent equilibrium. When your heart is guarded by something larger than human plots, and your destiny is stitched by a hand stronger than malice, no power on earth can really keep you back. Their collapse is only evidence that justice, however tardy, always keeps its appointment. And the pages of your tale change to fresh beginnings. Those who planned your demise are left reading the last chapter. They wrote for themselves the implications of walking in the dark, eventually appear in the most unexpected places, even the bodies of those who intended harm. When a person spends years spreading bitterness, it's as if they've sown seeds that grow into disease inside their own body. Sleepless nights and burdened hearts are not just emotional. They carved lines on people's faces and drained energy from their bones. With each day spent scheming another's downfall, their unwavering desire to pull you down becomes a burden that drags their own health to the brink. What they believed would wither your soul has turned into the same poison that is unraveling their own. The cosmos keeps score in ways that cannot be bribed, bartered, or explained away, even without any words from you. The rules that regulate energy reply in total fairness, giving each precisely what they have given those who want to cast shadows. Discover that the darkness has returned, settling into their own flesh and appearing as unexplainable maladies and responsibilities. There is no treatment that can lift. Attempts to disturb your life have simply brought to light their covert deals, revealing the unseen rot that has been festering out of sight. Plans established in backrooms and tactics spoken in the dark are making their way into the light. Every digital communication and word said in private is both revealed and concealed. Collaborators are now coming out to substantiate what was previously disregarded as paranoia. With each passing day, more proof emerges via emails, videos, and witnesses, making it hard to conceal their wrongdoing. Their efforts to disguise their tracks have simply spread evidence farther, making it simpler for the truth to unravel their web of deceit. When you reject to repay evil for evil and instead choose to go ahead, something miraculous occurs. You've realized that true triumph comes from living well rather than taking retribution, walking the route intended for you with confidence and pleasure. Each stride you take toward your purpose shines brighter, proving that darkness can never extinguish the light. Your life is the loudest response to their propaganda. Your tranquility, progress, and successes speak louder than any charge or plot. They're saddled with the repercussions of their own decisions. They have no control over the tide that lifts you. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You may support his plan and be a part of this holy mission by donating $1 or more. Every contribution symbolizes God's generosity, and I think it will return to you exponentially, far above your expectations. Remember that his protection and blessing are with you at all times, and with each gift you make, you become a part of his divine purpose. You are a powerful, dazzling creature, as steadfast as his enormous rock, who has experienced God's marvels. Feel the fruits of your kindness in your spirit, and brighten the world with confidence and bravery. Be blessed, and let the Lord's light guide your way, even while others are troubled by their own mistakes. You don't have to retaliate or even recognize the end of their universe. The very act of perseverance, of becoming stronger and more robust, is enough to leave them confused and regretful. You've become evidence that a greater power is at work, clearing the road for you that no amount of strategizing could prevent. The higher you climb, the clearer it becomes that their ideas had no ability to shape your narrative. There is a spiritual bankruptcy that results from trading with evil, seeking friends among invisible powers, and making vows to the same shadows intended to destroy you, which only leads to further bondage. Every ceremony, commitment, and invitation made to destroy your future has become a chain, tying them to the identical suffering they sought to escape. Their efforts to harness spiritual power to hurt others have resulted in curses on their own heads. Every incantation is now a tether, and every transaction is now a shackle. The problem is that their assaults targeted more than just your present. Their objective was to obliterate the heritage that ran through your blood, to upend your family's destiny, and to destroy the promise that had been planted centuries before you. They felt that by attacking you, they might end a whole line of blessings. A spiritual rule underpins their designs. Instead, they generated a counterforce. The evidence of those who came before you, rising to stand as witnesses in places they cannot see, summoning a justice that weighs every concealed transgression. If you experience God's presence, touch the join button below to be among the first to receive the most crucial insights. During this time, their armament evolved from ancient superstitions to technological advancements. They hid behind screens, created digital identities, and exploited the internet's unseen highways to conduct sabotage and defamation. However, every click, file, and dark motion left footprints that now serve as a guide for the truth to follow. The identical tools they employ to hurt others have become instruments for their own exposure. It's as if every meal they hurled at you served as a foreshadowing of their downfall. The cosmos always returns what it has put forth, multiply widely and difficult to ignore. Those who make a practice of planting discord find that the earth ultimately yields a crop of repercussions, and it's frequently considerably richer and more terrible than they anticipated. And while their days become clogged with worry, regret, and loss, yours are filled with fresh possibilities and increased strength. A living monument to the universal rule. What was intended to hurt will always be converted into something that supports those who walk in the light. It's remarkable how the universe's scales always tilt back toward equilibrium. There is often a sense of justice that develops in the unseen areas, as if existence itself is determined to ensure that no darkness goes unpunished. The obstacles they planned for your road have become stones in their own shoes. Their days are shaped by the hardships they intended for you. Loneliness wrapped about them, dread whispering at every turn, and darkness nibbling at what was once safe. Their goals have backfired, transforming their lives into a living exhibition of repercussions. What they desired for in your mind is now unraveling in theirs, and what they attempted to steal from your future has melted completely out of their hands. They tried to delete your past, but now they're stuck in a story of loss that reads like a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of evil intent. One of the most profound betrayals in all of this is how far certain people were ready to go, breaching limits that should never be crossed. Children were pawns in games that should not have existed. Those who couldn't bear to fight their own conflicts twisted innocent hearts into weapons instead of protecting them. Some disseminated resentment like a virus to the next generation of weavers, where trust should have been. A few went even farther, using youngsters as shields or messengers of hatred, aiming to injure you by injuring those least able to grasp the conflict. It was an attack not just on you, but also on the legacy and innocence that would live on into the future. There are spiritual rules that punish individuals who put innocent people in danger. When purity is used to further personal vendettas, there is a degree of consequences that arrives quickly, an absolute. Every soul drawn into these scams now serves as a beacon of justice, calling down a correction that cannot be bought or reversed. The shield that envelopes innocence is strong beyond conception. What was done in the shadows is being addressed in ways that the offenders could not have predicted. An unseen decision made quickly and permanently. While they spent years striving to perfect your shape, you silently planted seeds that have grown into something wonderful. Each step you made in your own path of loving, developing, and forgiving was a silent act of defiance against their goal. Time was their biggest loss. Every hour spent strategizing was an hour wasted from doing something tangible, learning something new, or making a meaningful connection. They've left a legacy of empty remorse, but yours is full of substance. Even in the midst of tragedy, the years weigh heavily on them. Their thoughts recount tales of opportunities missed and abilities lost in the sake of anger. Their lives' money was wasted on unwinnable fights, and now their hearts are empty vaults, ringing with the recollection of what may have been. Ironically, their constant attempts to isolate and destroy you have exposed others' blind spots. People who were previously blind to the truth are now seeing it with fresh clarity. Old loyalties are crumbling as the truth emerges and the social landscape shifts under their feet. Former allies and friends are now reading the repercussions of their actions aloud. Communities are waking up to the web of lies that has been weaved for so long that it was unnecessary to plan their collapse. Life handled the work. Their desperate desire to dominate and degrade you was their undoing. As more tales come out, patterns develop, and people who used to hide behind masks can no longer conceal the truth. Their secrets and transgressions are being revealed one by one, and no costume can hide who they've become. The world now sees what was previously concealed, and the stage they created to humiliate you has become a platform for their own exposure.